Chat GPT is taking the IT world by storm. This is a way that we can ask artificial intelligence, AI, some very important questions. So I thought I would ask it, how would you approach coaching an MMA fighter? And here are the results.
Coaching a mixed martial arts MMA fighter can be a challenging and rewarding experience. Here are a few tips for coaching an MMA fighter. Develop a training plan. Create a comprehensive training plan that includes both physical and mental training. Physical training should include a mix of cardio, strength training, and technique drills specific to the fighter's style. Mental training can include visualization, meditation, and goal
Straight off the
setting.
bat, some really good advice there. Developing a training plan, I think, is really important at every level of mixed martial arts and martial arts, especially to kind of measure where they are at the moment. Make sure that you're hitting all the key points. You know, mixed martial arts pretty much is a combination of all the Olympic combative sports. So if you're not hitting, you know, your striking, your wrestling, your grappling, your submissions, as well as your cardio, your strength training, something that often gets missed as well is the mental side of training as well. You know, everybody approaches combat sports and especially competition very differently. So having that emphasis on mental training sometimes gets missed, and you know, it's quite a physical sport, and it's one of those where people see, people throwing punches, kicks, slams, submissions, but to get to that point where you're confident enough to do that, or even get into a position where you get into competition, the mental side is really important. So can't fault that response at all.
Focus on the fighter's strengths. Identify the fighter's strengths and work on developing them further. This could include specific techniques, physical attributes, or mental skills.
Again, another great point, focusing on fighter strengths. Often, when preparing for competition, a lot of people do focus on adapting a fighter's game plan for their opponent. And often this can be a real mistake, where you focus so much on the opponent's strengths that you negate or you don't game plan around your own fighters' strengths and where they would like to see the fight actually happen as well. It seems a bit of a strange one, where your progression obviously comes from your weaknesses, but not focusing on your fighter's strengths, it's very difficult to kind of sometimes, in my opinion, come up with a game plan that actually works. If you're just focusing on the weaknesses all the time and not your strengths, and where you see the opportunity to actually win the fight, this can be a real mistake. So again, AI might be taking over my job pretty soon.
3. Address weaknesses. Identify and address any weaknesses the fighter may have, such as a lack of cardio or a specific technique they struggle.
That being said, as the AIs come back with, focusing on your weaknesses is really important as well. For me, especially, focusing on weaknesses and potentially improving or implementing new strategies, that should be done outside of competition and preparation for competition. So if you're trying to implement a game and you've only given yourself a 6-week training camp for that competition, and you're trying to implement something new into your strategy, that can be really difficult to implement and guarantee. When you're preparing for a fight, I think you need to be focusing on kind of what the game plan is, rather than adopting new skills. It's great that the AI has picked up addressing weaknesses, but that can't come at a cost of preparing for a fight correctly. So I may be in with a chance here to keep my job. Let's see what else they've got to say.
4. Provide support and guidance. Be there for the fighter both in and out of training. Offer support and guidance as they navigate their career, and be a positive influence in their life.
So, quite surprising that it's come back with this one, but providing support and guidance, this is actually a massive part of coaching a mixed martial arts fighter or martial artist as a whole. Often people outside of mixed martial arts and mixed martial arts training, their opinions on kind of the type of person that does this sport. They're quite macho and quite confident, and often that's not the case, and especially at the grassroots level when you're starting out your journey. You know, there's a lot of doubt. You know, you spend the first couple of months like not really sure what you're doing. You know, you're learning, like I say, all the different combat sports of the Olympics. You know, you learn how to grapple and wrestle and do jiu-jitsu. You know, you try to work out what your game plan is. You try to work out kind of what fits your style. You know, it could be, you know, if you're quite a tall person with quite long limbs, you know, you're not going to fight the same as a person who's a bit shorter and stockier. Weight classes as well, you know, they definitely have some significant differences on kind of what works at a high level. So you really need to adapt that, you know, and just throwing all that at someone and then, you know, expecting them to be able to cope mentally and have that time, you know, to process a lot of this information. You know, it's a big part of being a coach.
5. Communicate effectively. Clear and effective communication is essential in coaching. Make sure to listen to the fighter's concerns and provide constructive feedback.
So another great point. So communicating effectively, you know, and making sure that, you know, you are clear with your fighter, your expectations of kind of what's required to prepare for a fight. You know, how to address potential weaknesses and strengthen some of the strengths that they may have in their game. You know, dealing with like issues like, you know, injuries and kind of ways to work intelligently around that injury as well. You know, these are all really challenging things that as a coach you get on, you know, a daily basis. So, you know, that communication and being clear with your fighter on expectations, I think is really, really important. And the final bit of, you know, just understanding that, you know, that you need to be a positive influence. So if, you know, you can communicate all you want, but if you're doing the absolute opposite to what you're asking your fighter to do, you know, that will kind of lead to that fighter questioning your judgment. So you've got to be a positive influence. You've got to be that person who, yeah, you may have retired from competition, but you know, you're not coming into the gym, you know, hungover, you know, to take a fight team session or train with a particular fighter. You know, that the communication is not only verbal, it's kind of who, you know, what you do in your own personal life as well. So yeah, fantastic.
Coaching an MMA fighter requires a deep understanding of the sport and the ability to develop and implement a comprehensive training plan. It's also important to be supportive and positive influence in the fighter's life and career.
So all in all, I think I can probably keep my job for a little while longer, working with fighters, but quite impressive. You know, like a lot of people within the tech industry at the moment are talking about, you know, artificial intelligence and how it will replace people from, you know, having a job coding or doing something else within tech, like, you know. The answers that came back around kind of mixed martial arts, you know, very good. You know, a great way of kind of, you know, summarizing kind of some of the jobs that you have to do as a coach. You know, being in the thick of it and actually dealing with that, you know, it's not as linear. You know, you're dealing with people have got families, people have got problems, people have got work. You know, you have to have, and this is my only additional thing I'd add into this, you have to have empathy for your fighters and your students. Like, not, you know, if they miss a session, you know, just screaming at them to, you know, why are you doing that kind of thing. Like, you have to understand why. You know, and, you know, as humans, you know, we're fallible. You know, we get into trouble. So yeah, I think I've got my job. Hopefully you enjoyed this. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to try and do a bit more long form content in the new year, so 2023. Yeah, hoping to get a bit more in. But yeah, if you like it, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks for your time.